how did you go from not knowing anything to now I see you have like how many, I don't even know how many printers, and you have all these intricate designs and everything. What was the development process there?
Obsession. And I thought I was going to get away with not talking about this. But in my business, my name's Chris Corbett. I have a 3D printing business. I think that's what we're kind of here to talk about, but ultimately what started it, I guess. Basically, I started a 3D printing business by accident. I wanted a stormtrooper head to put a piece of coral on, because I'm into reef tanks, so saltwater fish aquariums and coral and stuff. And I had this crazy idea that I wanted to have coral encrust over a stormtrooper head. So I was like, well, I don't want to get something that could leach, because if you get it made out of like concrete or some sort of stone, it could leach like stuff into the water. Mm-hmm. So I figured 3D printing would be a good way to do it. So I reached out to a couple 3D printers, and everybody said I couldn't do it. They're like, oh no, I can't do it. It's too hard. I think they didn't want to get hit with like copyright stuff.
Oh, for like the actual helmet. Okay.
So I'm like, man, I reached out to like 10 different people, and I'm like, this is BS. You could do it. Yeah. So I went and bought a 3D printer, and Joe Afano's cousin, Mike Villani, he had a 3D printer. So he showed me how to like do it. And the stormtrooper head was the first thing I made. Okay. And it took off. Like I posted it on Instagram, and people went nuts over it.
Now, did you have any experience like prior to that with 3D printing, or like it was just straight up, you just had the idea for the stormtrooper helmet, you're like, just find a way to do it?
That's it. And then if it wasn't for Mike, I wouldn't have been able to do it, you know? And he like crash coursed me, and then like he said, you're gonna make a lot of mistakes. Yeah. And you know, Mike's super patient, so he got me through it.
It's interesting though, because like this is one of like the few podcasts that I've done where I don't really have too much like knowledge about like even any of the real like business element of your business specifically. Like, you know, we've interviewed tattoo artists. Yep. I worked at a tattoo shop, or we've interviewed, you know, Joe Tuned Out. He's an artist as well, right? Yep. So I have some like kind of background in that where I can at least kind of talk about it. But like, it's interesting because like I have so many questions to get into. I mean, I took the one thing that I guess I do have is in like middle school, they had this like this shop class, and part of the shop class, they just got, this was like, I guess, I don't know if it was when 3D printing was like brand new, but it was brand new to like the education for us. Like our school had just gotten like a small 3D printer. So in the shop class, we learned like some very basic stuff. Like we learned how to make a die, right? Like a you know, 6-sided die. That was about it. Yeah. And I just remember like even just doing that little piece was like very difficult. So how did you go from like not knowing anything to now I see you have like how many, I don't even know how many printers, and you have all these intricate designs and everything. What was the development process there?
Obsession. That's really like, you know, I saw something with being able to be creative. So like it's not too far off of like what you do with t-shirts. Mm-hmm. The only difference is we're extruding it out. Right. So, and then, you know, I'm not to the point where I can't design you. Like I can't do that, but I can do a lot of different crazy things. Right. But what made me like really say, hey, there might be something there. My career is I've been in the car business for 23 years now. I started in the prep department, and I worked my way up to finance director. Okay. And so I've done everything in the car business, and if it makes money and it's fun, I want to do it, right? So when I could start to make money with the stormtrooper head, and like they took off, I was like, whoa, there might be something here. So I bought another printer, and then I bought another printer, and then I bought another printer. And at one point I had 18 3D printers. And it. Listen, man, they were justified in because I was using them. It
Yeah.
wasn't like I was just buying them and they weren't getting used. Like I had 18 3D printers cooking 24/7, and I just wanted to be creative, so I wanted to make things that would be something of use to the community in reefing, right? So, reefing with the saltwater aquariums and stuff. And I started to bring products that no one ever thought about or designed or had ever. It wasn't there. I made it's called a clear view, where basically it uses the wall of the aquarium, the glass of the aquarium, and then 3 other walls, and you could put your coral in there instead of having it on rocks over there, or on a frag rack in the back. You can watch your coral grow. You can see it. You can take really nice pictures of it, because photography is huge in reefing.
Right.
So at the core of this whole 3D printing thing is a fish tank. That's where it all
Yeah.
started. It all started from a fish tank.
So I guess like obviously the 3D printing element is a little bit separate, but I guess this was another question that I did have in terms of, and you kind of answered it already. Was it 3D printing first, or was it the reefing first?
It was
And
reefing. Yeah.
So like where was your start in that? Like what's the timeline look like when you got into that? And then how many years in between that to where you started like actually 3D printing stuff for yourself?
So I started like in the saltwater aquarium probably in like 2000.
Oh, really?
Like right when I
Okay.
started getting into like making money with cars.
Right.
I went and bought a fish tank and dumped all my money that I made in there. Bought stingrays and sharks and all kinds of crazy stuff. Weren't able to keep any of it,
Right.
and then we moved to a couple different places. Couldn't have the tank up and running, so it kind of sat. And then when I landed the spot in Mount Kisco, and the owner was super cool, I was like, I'm gonna put a fish tank in my office. They're like, what? I said, can I put a fish tank in my office? Yeah, a little 30-gallon fish tank. That 30-gallon fish tank evolved into a 65-gallon fish tank. And that's when Rhinos Reef started.
Okay.
Was because I had all this extra time in between customers and doing all that I could actually tend to doing coral. And I would never do it at home because I just knew I didn't have the time, but I could do it at work. So I started the page Rhinos Reef. Shortly after that, I found an artist. He made this. And then that began that whole thing, and Instagram and building that. At the time, had no clue that it was going to be a brand.
Right.
Building that page up and building a community around just my fish tank.
Yeah.
And then the Stormtrooper head came.
And I want to get into more of the social media stuff too, because I think you do like an amazing job
Thank
at
you.
staying active and also just like in terms of actual quality of the posts. But
It's so funny you say that because I feel like I lack. on
no,
that
no,
quality,
I
man.
feel like I'm always the one that's like I haven't posted anything in weeks, because sometimes you get caught up with actually doing orders, or
And life.
Yeah, life happens, things
crazy.
happen. But for some reason, every time I go on my Instagram, I always see a post from you, so I'm
Oh,
like,
that's
oh well, that's awesome.
I'm trying,
Just
dude.
staying active, and I see people engaging with it, so that's really cool too. But I want to go back to the actual like reefing stuff, because it is interesting. Like it started as a hobby, right? Like just something you enjoyed on the side,
Yep.
and then growing it into that business over time. There was like no intention of doing a business, right? Yeah.
Zero. And my GM at Kisco, before we left, he was like, dude, I want to let you know that like I'm fucking proud of you, because you took this fish tank and you turned it into a business that might set you free from this industry.
Yeah.
And it might do that. And it wasn't an intention of mine. It was just, I wanted to have my own little box of water with my own little, environment in there, and my little animals. And then I just wanted to, sprinkle a little bit of different in there.
Yeah.
And now I can just literally do whatever I want. I wake up in the morning and
Yep.
I can do something, you know what I mean? So, and that's the freedom of it, I guess, is you're able to do whatever you want.
No, yeah, I think it's like really inspiring for people, like anybody who might be listening who doesn't have a business yet, thinking about starting a business. It's inspiring to hear a story where it's even just from an instance of like, you took a hobby and accidentally turned it into a business and turned it into something that is self-sustaining and
Right.
and growing rapidly, like I think it gives people, some sense of like hope in a way of like you can, it's kind of like that you can do it, like that
Yeah.
push, even if it's something that most people would be like, oh, that's a stupid idea. It's like you never know.
You-
You never
It
know.
was a stupid idea. It was. It was a stormtrooper
Yeah.
that I was gonna grow coral on. My wife thought it was the dumbest thing in the world. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? My mother-in-law, when I first started buying printers, she thought it was the dumbest thing in the world.
Yeah.
Like they don't understand. What I would tell everybody is don't try to do something that don't do it for money.
Right.
If there's something that you like doing, do that. And it might be hard for you to really figure out what you like doing and maybe marketing it or scaling it into something. But if there's something weird that you like that nobody else in your circle likes, chances are you'll be able to make money off of that. It's in some way,
There's a niche for everything.
There really
and
is.
and I think also more importantly, like what you're saying there is really it feeds into that idea of you have to have a passion for what you're doing. Like I think I posted a sound on one of my trim merch reels, but it was true. I think it was Steve Jobs or something. He was like, you have to have a passion for what
Yeah.
you're doing, because if you don't have some sort of passion or desire to do it, you're not going to be able to like
Keep
have that obsession like you mentioned and actually push through and create something and like carry it over the finish line.
Dude, I know this is your spot. You're working right out of your spot. And my print shop is in a spare bedroom. Before I go to bed, I'm in that room
Yep.
doing what needs to be done. And as soon as I get up, I kiss my wife, I bring up the coffee, and I'm in that room doing what needs to be done. One of the things that I think really helped me was an injury. So I used to be a power lifter.
Okay.
And I was on my way to do all kinds of crazy meets. I had really good numbers. And in 2019, in October, I hurt my back. I bulged 3 discs, and then I have spinal stenosis, and that's why the muscle rhino. That's where that comes from.
Yeah.
I got the nickname the albino rhino from one of my buddies, and that was my nickname, the albino rhino.
That's great.
Albino rhino.
Yeah.
So because I couldn't go to the gym, I'd get up at 5 a.m. every morning, eat, do my stuff, get to the gym, train until 8, and then go to work. I don't have anything to do with that time. So instead of just sleeping, I started 3D printing. And I don't know if you've done this, but when you wake up, like that first half hour after you wake up, I'm super creative. Like I can get through the issues that I couldn't get through for days at night.
Yep.
But in the morning, it's fresh. I'm able to do it, attack it, get through some of this stuff. And then it's like, oh shit, I gotta go to work.
Yeah.
So that has helped me tremendously getting through all the stuff that I've done. And I just don't stop working, man.
Yeah.
I don't stop.
Yeah. I mean, I feel similar too. I don't get up at 5 a.m. I get up probably around like 6:30, 7 some days, but I just go right to the gym after that.
Yep.
Like I'll get up,
Yep.
I go right to the gym down the road. And that really, similar to you, like that primes the rest of my day.
Yep.
Where it's like, even when I'm at the gym, like that's my time to kind of get my head right for the day, thinking about what needs to get done as well. Like not necessarily during the workout, but maybe like I spend like 10 minutes going to cool down on the treadmill or
Yep.
something. But during that 10 minutes, that's when my brain starts to switch over and
Yep.
it's like, all right, got to do this, got to do this, got to do this. And then by the time I get back, it's like just ready to go,
Yep.
and that is helpful. I think that's very true too. Like
I've got to switch gears and get back into the gym because
Yeah.
I put on 50 pounds and it's like, it's hard to tie my shoes and
well, if you're
thank God
if you're
there's
still doing
slip-ons.
if you're still doing the powerlifting though, mass moves mass. So.
Yeah, well, no, I won't do powerlifting. It's too
No.
painful. Yeah, I don't think there's a fix. I've gone through a bunch of different procedures, and I think I just need to really strengthen my core, my back, and just kind of live with the pain that I have. But
You're on the wrong podcast. You need to get on Joe Rogan's podcast.
I
They'll
know,
be shooting
I
you
know.
up with stem cells and everything.
dude, I almost did it. I almost went, and they were like, "Let's do PRP," and I was like, "Is this gonna work?" And he goes, "Well, it's not guaranteed." I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, man. I've spent like 10 grand trying to figure this out.
Yeah.
I don't want to spend another 4
Yeah.
on the what if. So
You go to like Tijuana to get some like
yeah, I'll
shady
go.
stuff.
Yeah,
You
I'll go
wake up in a
there.
bathtub, the ice around you, like, oh,
No kidney.
yeah, yeah. Who knows? I don't know. I mean, they're getting medicine's always developing. Maybe
It
there is
is.
something. So
It might be, but I think right now I just need to get back in there, clear my head.
yeah,
I think I'm at the point where I've invested in, obviously you've done the same thing. You've got, new equipment, better equipment.
yep,
The stuff that I have now, I only have to do a couple things and that's push a button, versus where I was doing a lot of manual stuff. Like I would have to have this print and then wait for it to get to this part. When it paused there, whether I'm home or not, it's going to stop there.
yeah,
And then whether my wife does it 4 hours later or it's me 8 hours later, comes back, changes it to white,
okay,
finishes off.
yeah.
Now my printers do it automatically. I don't have to do anything.
That's awesome. And by the way, shout out. Chris made this for me earlier today. He was saying so. This is really cool. I'm gonna have to take a picture of this and we'll post it up on social media and everything.
I woke up and I was
thank
like,
you so much for that.
Yeah,
Really
you're
cool.
having me on, and I literally can create something. I was like, yeah, just make a quick sign. I know it's a simple sign. It's nothing crazy.
No, it's cool.
But I figured it'd be like a nice little thing to have.
Yeah.
I've yet to make my own sign.
Really?
Dude, it's nuts.
Well, I mean, I guess I say really, but it's also the same thing. Like you'll see on that rack back there, if you look later, I have like a rack of shirts. Those are all shirts that I was like, oh, I'm going to make myself some shirts with like shirt merch logo, some other things I wanted. And they're just
never happens.
Everything else comes first. And then, you're always the last to do your own thing.
I know. After I leave here, I'm shooting over to New York Aquatic, which is I don't know if you're familiar. They're in Yonkers.
Oh, really?
It's one of the biggest East Coast wholesalers.
Okay.
And they're in a warehouse, and it's, you walk in, I think the ceilings are like 30 feet or something like that, and it's fish tanks all the way up to the thing. They're starting to get into coral. So they had me print, I printed them 27 or 29 racks. So I'm shooting over there. I'm going to go see them. And they're huge on social media. One of the cool things with my social media is, because I'm super positive, like I'm always trying to the message of hardworking, be kind. I do, this month I'm giving away something every single day from the,
I saw
from my shop.
Yep.
It's been crazy. And like a very generous person, I decided to do the same thing with somebody else. So I'm doing two 25-day giveaways. This lady, Tyann, she has a Facebook group, and she's, she does a lot for the community. And, she asked if I could give something away, and I was like, I'll match you every single day. So you're doing something, I'll do something. She supported me. I get a lot of customers and follows from Facebook from her. So, I've been right now. It's been giveaway. So, it's a lot of fun though. It's fun. Like, dude, I made a decent amount of money. That is supplemental because the car business is not where it used to be.
Right.
So I lost a lot of money in the car business.
Right, because the interest rates are going up, right? I mean, just for houses, cars, everything.
Rates, inventory, none of it's all against you.
Right.
And it's not for the consumer. It's really me. My job is I'm the finance manager. So you come in and sit down with me. I'm gonna try to sell you a warranty and tire and wheel and all that other stuff that you need.
Right.
But you may not need,
or
maybe too expensive because you paid too much for the car and the interest rate's too high. Whereas before you'd be like, oh, okay, so it's only going to be like $30 in my payment. Now it's like $60.
Right.
So it's, it's made my job really hard there. So I get a lot more no's than I ever have before. So that, and I'm seeing less people.
Yeah.
This printing business has filled a portion of that, not the whole thing, but man, it's made it, work for us.
Yeah. It's a nice safety, even if it's just a little bit of money on the side. But I think where I want to go, because we were just talking about the social media stuff. Obviously, you're doing the giveaways and everything like that. I kind of want to get into that a little bit more because you also mentioned like the Facebook groups, all of these things, and we were talking about how it was kind of unexpected getting into this business, but also at the same time with like the advent of social media and having all this all these ways to connect with new people, like from other states, countries, whole other parts of the world. it's so important in business now. So like how did you go about starting your page? How do you go about, you know, just keeping up with the day-to-day stuff, creating new content, creating ideas, filming them? Like what's your process there?
Does that look cool? I'll film that. That's what I
Okay.
like. Really, it comes down to that, and then like it'll be, you'll be doing something, and scrolling is like the killer of creativity. So I really try not to get on my phone and go on TikTok and stuff like
Right.
that, because you get lost, and then you get lost and you get sleepy, and then you don't want to create. But every once in a while, you'll see something or you hear, but you have to. It's like a double edged sword, because you have to, because you don't know what the trending audios are. You don't know, what people are doing, so you kind of want to be able to peruse a little bit.
Yeah.
But then you'll hear, like, I mean, I have so many saved and started reels of audios that I just picked up. I'll
Yep.
throw a picture in there, and then I'll go back to it later. And always at the core of most of my stuff, it's either I'm talking a little bit of shit in the song, because I'll
Yeah.
let the song talk shit and my work show,
Right.
or it's something super motivational. And I don't really sell on Instagram, and Instagram is my main source of advertising.
Right.
So I've done a few ads, they never really panned out, but really I just drop stuff. And that conversation that starts in the comments, or someone sees it and DMs me, hey, can you do this? I never say no.
Right.
Unless it's something absolutely crazy. But like, I'm gonna figure it out. It may take me a little while, but I'm gonna figure it out. But most of the time, all the custom work that I do, like if somebody wanted their frag rack to have that on there, I could
Right.
do that. And I would definitely do that, or make them a sign like that. But like, social media is just like, I have to feel that it's something that I like, because I really don't care if they
Right.
don't like it. It's
Right.
If I don't like it, if I'm doing something, I've had plenty of businesses hit me up and say, hey, listen, man, you're a beast when it comes to social media, but your content really isn't geared towards your business. But it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's my way that I want to do my content.
Well, if you're talking about your business, it is geared
Right.
towards your business. If you're showing off the products that you've made, even if you're not saying, "Hey, buy this product,"
Right.
you're still advertising it. So
Right.
I don't agree with that. Yeah.
They'll why aren't you putting the price tag? Or I uploaded my shop onto Instagram, and I thought that's the most sale. Dude, I do sales.
Yeah.
I am sales. That's what
Yeah.
I don't want this to be sales.
Right.
I want this to be a conversation, and then I want it to be an experience, and then I want it to be you showing it off,
Right.
because
Right.
that's ultimately what it is.
Yeah. I mean, I think also because like, you get into like the whole putting prices up on Instagram thing, and then it's not authentic anymore either.
Right.
And specifically, like we've talked about, this is a pretty niche group of like very dedicated people from what I could tell.
Right.
Like you said, I always see people commenting on your posts, talking about it, right? It's an actual community of people that are
Yeah.
engaged with it. It's not like some random trinket that you're trying to sell
Right.
1,000 of,
Right. It's
It's
not
like,
Etsy.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah. It's and I think that speaks to kind of trying to apply like the wrong marketing tactic to a different business,
Right.
right? Because like I said, it's not Dick's Sporting Goods where where you have a million units of the
Right.
same jersey or whatever that you're trying to push through. It's
And there's 100,000
yeah,
people that are going to come and buy it right away.
right,
I don't have
right.
that.
It's a niche community, and I agree with that. Like you are definitely providing like a very like custom, very tailored, personal feel in your
Right.
post too. Even if you're just commenting or engaging with people in the comments, like that does add to it a little bit.
One of the things that I think I do really well is the products that I am showing, they're your products. So if you bought something from me showing it off is actually tagging you as a collaborator
Right.
and saying, I did this, I did XXXX for who so and so. It's coming at you. Really appreciate the support.
Right.
And that now goes on their page. So double view there.
Yeah.
And people are like, well, I want my own video, and
Yeah.
however, and it's, just this little thing where,
Yeah.
but it's fun. you know. And I'll say, hey, what kind of music do you like listening to? What's a song
Mm-hmm.
your video is gonna drop on Friday? And like it's an event at that point, you know.
Yeah, it's
So
more than just getting a piece for your reef.
right, for
Yeah,
sure.
that's awesome. And I think too, like you said, that's a very smart way to go about it in terms of getting your stuff out there because, like you said, you're doubling up your audience.
Right.
You're now getting to that person's audience, and having all those people see that. I definitely think
Even with
the
the giveaways,
collaboration
dude.
is
With
smart.
the giveaways, I'm doing collab. I'm putting them as
Yep.
a collaborator, and
Yeah.
it's jumping on there. And I genuinely want to give one thing away
Yeah.
every single day and make 25 people happy. And
Well,
it
yeah. I mean, people try to get too. I feel like people try to get a little too fancy with social media, or they get a little pretentious about it, where they're like, "This is my page. I don't want to like share, or
yeah.
I don't want to do this that."
Oh,
And
it
I mean,
happens. It happens. You'll see no one will accept the invite.
yeah.
You know.
And it's like it's free. Like
Right.
this isn't, it's not some like master art piece. It's like an Instagram page,
Right.
Like
Right.
why wouldn't you want to share your work or share somebody else's work, I like I know for the Just Business podcast Instagram, the only thing I will do is I only follow back the guests.
Okay.
But the reason for that is because I kind of want it to be easy so that people, when they go on the page, they
Yep.
can find the guests easier.
Yep.
It's so then that, and so that's not a bunch of like random people that they have to scroll through. So that's my only rationale behind that. But I think in general, like, yeah, why wouldn't you want to? If I'll do a snippet after this, for the episode, and we'll share it out so
For
we
sure.
can collab on that. I have no problem with any of that. Like, I don't understand why people,
They don't
wouldn't.
understand it.
Yeah.
Right, you know, and it's if you wanna grow, you're gonna have to get out of your comfort zone. You know, publicly speaking, before I became a manager, when I was a salesperson, like I could talk to you selling you a car, no problem. Your family selling a car,
Yeah.
but as soon as I had to stand up in front of a crowd
Hmm.
and speak, man, I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
So then I started doing, but they kept putting me in charge of the meetings, so I got better and better at it.
Yep.
And then, then I started doing a little bit of vlogging for a little while, and
Hmm.
I got comfortable in front of a camera, and I did that. That was part of the powerlifting thing because I was sponsored by Blackstone Labs, and they wanted content, so we were just putting out a lot of content and workout videos and all of that stuff. So I got really comfortable being a goofy guy
Yeah.
in front of the camera.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Being a knucklehead. So now I go to these shows. I do these reefing shows, and they're like it's called Reefapalooza is one of them, and it's like where a bunch of vendors go and they sell their stuff, but like thousands of people come.
Yeah.
And man, every time I go to one of these things, it's, hey, can we get a picture with you? Can we do this? Can I grab your? I got this idea about this, and then it's this thing that turns into like busy booth. People are all around. My wife was like, I can't believe you did this. And like a couple of years, you turn into like this little mini celebrity. And I'm
Yeah.
not a celebrity, but like when
No,
you go there, people want to talk to you, and it's
Yeah.
kind of crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. People will see you. And like, it is kind of the same idea though of celebrity, not to say like in the sense of like being more important or anything, but in the sense of like, you have people that you've never met coming
Right.
up to you
And they're
and
watching you, they
yeah,
support you,
and
and do all that.
they've heard you talk. You've
Right.
never even met them. So
Right.
that's the part that
They're
I
like,
get. Yeah.
oh, hey, it's Ryan's Reef. And I'm like, oh, hey,
Yeah.
Ryan.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I mean that's awesome. I used to work at Comic Cons, which are similar, like
Yeah.
same
so
same
you
idea.
know that.
Yeah,
that-
yeah.
that
I know like
environment.
that dynamic. I mean, I was never like on social media or like, notable in there. I just
Yeah.
worked at like a booth. But
Yeah. It's crazy.
yeah, seeing that many people there, having all of the people coming in, looking at stuff, like even aside from social media, like I would sell stuff at the convention. So you
Right.
have to be able to kind of like speak publicly, announce
Yeah.
yourself to the
Yeah.
people in the booth, like, see if anybody needs anything.
Joke around. Like,
Yeah.
I'm talking so much smack at the booth,
Yeah.
dude. Like,
Yeah.
I joke with people, and it brings them in because most people are just standing there because, they're out way outside of their comfort zone. They're
Yep.
around tons of people.
Yep.
And if you're not there grabbing people's attention, one way or another without, when it translates to the Instagram post, it translates to your website, it translates to, your stories or however. If you're not trying to grab people's attention or being, you know, a vibrant version of you
Right.
is really the best way to kind of, because dude, I'm an introvert. Like,
Yeah.
you wouldn't know it, but I am. Like,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't really want to be bothered.
Yeah.
But like, I do enjoy doing what I do, so I know what I have to do it.
Right.
So, yeah, I have a lot of fun at the shows. The shows are fun.
Yeah, well, it's like any kind of, I don't want to say like sales setting, but it is kind of a salesy thing to
You're on
need.
stage.
Yeah, you need to kind of put a little performance on,
Yep.
and maybe performance not even the right word, but you need to get out there and connect with people because most people are not gonna make the first move.
Right.
So like,
Right. The
that,
first
yeah.
show I did was like, my first sales job was at Pacific Sunwear when I was like 16 in the mall. And the guy put me up in the front to greet people. And he was like, all you got to do is just say hi. And I couldn't say hi. Like, people would walk in and I'd like walk around the rounder, get the clothes together. And he's like, hey, what are you doing? I was like, I don't know, just, I'm just saying. He's just, all you have to do is say hi.
Yeah.
You just got to say hi. And then finally I said hi to somebody, like, oh, hi. And I was like, oh, that wasn't that bad.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think part of that too, I mean, I know for me, like particularly, I have a thing where it's not even that I'm not like comfortable talking to people. Like I feel like I am pretty comfortable talking to people, but sometimes you get the vibe that like people don't want to be bothered, and you also don't, like, it's hard balancing that where it's like you don't want to be like the perfume kiosk guy in the mall that's like following you down the hallway, but at the same time you do need to, you do want to like engage with people.
You got to get them out. So there's a lot of people that are just like stone face.
Yeah.
And and I know with my job, if I have literally 30 seconds for you to like me at my job, in my career, and nobody likes going to my office. Right. The two places people hate going is the finance manager's office and the service. No one, because that's where money.
Well, all the fun stuff's done, right?
Right.
There's no more test drives.
Right. Yeah. Now you got to pay for it. So
yeah.
If I can get you to laugh in that 30 seconds, and man, I see people who are just, they're not happy to be there. They're not happy that they paid this much for a car, this, that, and the other. But if I can loosen them up, the chances of me maybe making a little bit or selling them something is better. And I do okay at my job. I'm not the best, I'm not the worst, but I do okay. I keep my management happy. So keep myself employed, which is more important.
Yeah, I mean, you said you've been doing it for a while, so obviously something's been working. I kind of want to get into that too. Like, how do you balance? I mean, we talked about how you kind of initially balanced it, but how do you balance now having a full-time job and then also, Rhinos Reef, the business, the separate entity now? Like, how do you juggle those two things?
It's nonstop.
Yeah,
it's nonstop. I'm lucky. My wife is home with the kids, so she helps me. She helped me through the worst part of it, and that was, all my other manual printers. And when everything was manual, she was in there, dude. I'd send her a message. Can you check the printers? Can you check the printers? And what color and this, that, and the other. And she'd send me pictures. And then this print failed and that failed and this did this and that. And it was a rough 2 years. And then now that I've got these new printers, it's a lot easier. She just goes and she pushes a button, pulls it off, starts a new one, keeps it moving. The only thing she's not allowed to touch is anything with magnets, because a lot of the racks and stuff are magnetic. So they, you have a dry side magnet in the rack that goes inside the tank, and then, the magnet holds that to the glass. It's now I'm able to, okay, that part's there. I can come home, stuff's going to be done, or it will be done a lot faster. But it was, dude, like I said, I would get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, do that stuff, go to work, social media, talk to people, have 9 different fishing lines in there on people who are almost ready to bite or on the hook, but I'm not ready to yank them because they're still worrying about, how much this is or what that is, or they want a certain font and their name. And so it's just it's always, you're just juggling different stuff 24/7. And then at work, it's got to be, I need to be focused because this is what's bringing that money in this week, where that's going to come in, and it's not the same amount of money. So, priority is my career first,
Right.
and then career, family. I need to make sure my family knows that I'm attentive and that I love them.
Yeah.
And then I do that as a third thing. So it's nonstop,
So it's just prioritizing those things, like you said, and then
Mm-hmm.
I guess it also sounds like a lot of it is staying present too,
You
right?
have to.
Like
With
when
all
you're at
three of
work,
them.
you're at work. When
Right.
you're home, you're home. When you're doing Rhinos Reef, that's what you're doing.
I'm easy to turn off one switch, turn on another.
Right.
Some people can't do that.
Yeah.
And it's very easy not to do that.
Right.
But with work, I've always been able to, when I leave work, I don't care, man. That switch is off.
Yep.
I put in my 12 hours there and I work crazy hours. It's, it's not like 40 hours.
Yeah.
It's 60, 65 hours a week. And sometimes it's more than that because I have to stay until that customer goes, if I have, I'm 9 to 6, but that customer's not coming until 6:30. I'm there till 8:30, so it's sacrifice and it's prioritizing.
Yeah. Well, I think flipping that switch is interesting too, because like you said, not people do have problems with that. I think like for me anyway, I feel like I'm a similar to you in the sense that like I am pretty good at staying present. But one of the things that has helped me a lot with that has been like going to the gym.
Yeah.
Because for some reason it's like, especially when I just get that done like once a day, I've noticed I used to go at night, and I've noticed like even going in the morning has had
so much better in the morning.
it's had a difference for me. Like
there's pros and cons to it. Because if you go later in the day, you're gonna get much more out of your workout than you are in the morning.
Right.
Just because of all the fuel you have in your body.
Right.
So when in the morning you're almost fasted or, very limited on what you put in your body because you don't want to feel sluggish. But you wake up.
Right.
And you're alert for the rest of the day.
But yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like mentally, it like primes me to be in a position where I can kind of like flip the switch on, flip the switch off. Like it gets like I even noticed when my gym membership at my old gym like cut off basically, and I had moved here.
Yeah.
So I was a little further from it. So I was like, let me see if I could find a closer gym anyway. And I had like a week or week and a half or something where I didn't have that opportunity to like work out because I was still looking for a new gym. And I physically noticed like during that time, mentally I was getting like super anxious about stuff.
Yep.
Like I was not able to focus. Like it really does. It's one of those things where you don't really notice it as much until you take it away, and then you're like, oh shit, like that actually was very helpful.
That energy that you burn in that workout, it's insane.
Yeah.
And it really does. It sets up you're getting blood flowing. And everything other than the printing business has suffered because I left the gym.
Right.
Mentally, like cortisol levels are super high because of that. When you're going in the gym, you're able to control that stuff. I stay on top of my vitamins. I am on TRT. Okay. So I'm on testosterone replacement therapy. And that had to do, I found that out like a year before I got injured, that I had low testosterone. And, I was anxious. I was depressed. I felt sad for no reason. Still strong, but, and then, so, making sure being able to make sure that I'm everything else except for the fact that I'm not working out is still there. Like I still meal prep. It's chicken and rice and broccoli, dude. I eat the same thing. I just don't move.
Yeah. It's weird though, because I feel like that's been an issue for a while for like a lot of people as well. And it doesn't get talked about as much, but I heard something, I don't know what the actual statistics are, but they were basically saying like people my age or like in their, late teens to early mid 20s, like that range, especially obviously men, are showing like significantly lower like testosterone levels. Sure. Like a guy today my age was having like the same testosterone as like a guy in the 80s who was 40.
Dude, well, think about,
or like 50 or 60, whatever it was.
Think about all the stuff that has changed nutrition wise.
Right.
That is supposed to be better, but really is it? No, it's destroying your endocrine system.
Right.
So, obviously if you see the processed food thing go up, and then you see all the stuff with cancer and testosterone and even estrogen. Women have low estrogen.
Yeah.
And that happens. And my wife's been talking to her doctor, going through hormone stuff, and she's finally they leaned into the right stuff, and it's working for her.
Mm.
But yeah, it's the lifestyle and what we're eating and what we're taking in. It's not good for us.
No, yeah.
You
I
know?
try to keep it simple, like meat, vegetables.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I'm not saying that
But if
I'm
you're
always
not
sticking
eating
to that.
grass fed or doing
Yeah.
all that, it's less. You know, it can be expensive. You got to work with what you got. I'm not doing free range chicken. I just eat too much of it.
Yeah.
You know, so it's, you know, make sure I take all the right vitamins, you know, the methylated vitamins, and keep up on my.
I've been hearing a lot about
Dude,
that. Gary Brecka, right?
Bro,
Him and Dana White have been talking about that.
So my wife's been talking about this for months now, and then Dana comes on and says his thing, how it worked. And I got tested in 2016 because I just didn't feel good. I went from a ketogenic diet. At my heaviest, I was 364 pounds, just really fat, obese. And in 2013, I decided I was going to change my life. I lost 120 pounds in like 3.5 months. I did a ketogenic diet and looked like I was a crackhead.
Yeah.
Right. So then I was like, all right, I'm going to the gym. Started going to the gym, watching Rich Piana, Ronnie Coleman, all the greats, Arnold, listening to the motivational stuff like that. Really, that skyrocketed how I looked at and viewed at everything.
Yeah.
Because I had just lost all that weight. So now anything is possible. So now I can go lift. I can go back to like in high school and lift. So I started lifting and I just got strong. I was strong and got sponsored by Blackstone and doing all that, being a part of that and training towards the meet. So now I'm like, all right, now I got to eat regular food. I can't eat just fat.
Yeah.
This ketogenic diet is just basically fat.
Yeah.
Right. So I got to do away with the eggs and the bacon and the burgers. And I'm going to eat like, you know, I'm going to have like chicken and rice and I'll have a peanut butter sandwich. And so I start, you know, I'll eat pasta for, you know, whatever. And I started getting really, really bloated, having these issues with bloat, not feeling good. So I'll go and get a test and they test my blood and I'm allergic to gluten and I'm allergic to corn and I'm allergic to turmeric.
Everybody's saying gluten though now these days. Like I've been hearing that too. My girlfriend's allergic to gluten. Everybody's allergic to gluten.
Start taking a methylated folate.
Yeah.
Start taking a
Well, they've been saying it's
B12.
I heard, and this was from that Gary Brecka podcast that I think Joe Rogan did with him, but he was talking about like them spraying folic acid on the wheat when they grow it for whatever benefit, if it's a pesticide or whatever it does, whatever they think it's going to do, but it's made it so that our body can't break down folic acid. Right. So that's what's supposedly, according to what he was saying, causing that like intolerance.
I've eaten gluten for the last 2.5 weeks since my wife got me a methylated folate and methylated B12. And then there's another methylated vitamin that she said, you got to take this and you'll feel better.
Right.
I have not been extended. I haven't been gassy. I haven't been where I can't breathe, because when I would eat that, I would literally you'd watch my stomach like blow up.
Right.
And I would be really uncomfortable. And, you know, the bathroom was not fun.
Yeah.
But since I've started taking that, and dude, in 2 weeks, I can literally go home and have a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, where I couldn't do that. I would put peanut butter and jelly on like rice cakes and eat it that way. Yeah. Just because, you know, I could have pasta. I ate pasta 2 days in a row. I would never do that. Yeah.
That's
look into it. The methylated thing is where it's able to, because it's a genetic thing, I guess, where we can't, 50% of the people can't process that stuff.
Yeah. Supposedly there's a test you could take. It tells you exactly what it was. I mean, I'm not going to.
It's like $600 to do that test, because it's a genetic test.
But you do it once. You only
do
have
it
to
once,
do it
and then you know.
Yeah.
Right. So it's worth the investment if you have issues, because she might be celiac. And if she's celiac, then there's issues there. Yeah, yeah. You know, then that's autoimmune.
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to tell anybody that I know what I'm talking about or anything like that.
Neither do I.
Yeah, but I have been hearing all about this stuff, and I'm like, it is interesting to hear about how, you know, because this might sound like it's unrelated to business, but honestly, like if you're going to be an entrepreneur, you want to be physically there. Yeah. You want to feel good, because otherwise you're not going to have the energy to do it. And when I hear about all of these ways to boost your energy or just, overall improve your quality of life, like the
Yep.
way you feel day to day, it's like, why wouldn't you want to do that? Even if you're not running a business, why wouldn't you want to
Y-
just feel better? Like,
Yeah, everything's better that
yeah,
way. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely look into it for sure.
yeah. Yeah, I do want to do that. I was thinking like starting in the new year, I wanted to try like the carnivore diet just to see, just
Oh,
to start by eliminating everything
yep.
and then like maybe slowly incorporating things back in, like, leafy greens and stuff like that. But
I don't know if it was that I just was comfortable feeling like shit
yeah,
before the ketogenic diet, and that's all I like. That's what I knew. But as soon as and like I didn't know that I had that gluten sensitivity and
right.
that it was affecting me that way until after I got off of ketogenic diet and I
Mm,
started eating that food and I'm just like, damn, this does not feel right, and just going up the stairs, dude. And I was fit
yeah,
going up the stairs because I was so extended my lungs I couldn't breathe.
yeah.
You know.
Well, I mean, I just think of it too, also like from the aspect of anything super processed, any sort of like pastas or
Yep.
breads, cookies, all that
Yep.
stuff.
Oh, cookies
Like,
are great.
I mean, yeah, I'm not gonna tell you that I'm not eating cookies. I got a thing of ice cream right in the fridge over there, but it is what it is. But at the same time, it's like the way I think of it is those super processed things. It's like, yeah, no wonder our bodies have trouble
Right.
breaking that down. It didn't come from the earth. Like, it's not naturally created. It
Right.
took several steps of processing sugars and processing oils and adding all this stuff together, mixing it together, freezing it, heating it, whatever, to get that. So it's like, yeah,
Of
you might as
course
well
it's
be eating
not.
cement. Like,
Right.
no wonder your stomach
I
hurts.
remember one of the things, somebody, I forget who it was, they were like, listen, your body doesn't know the difference between an apple and like a Reese's Pieces cup.
Yeah.
It's sugar, that sugar is that sugar. But the difference is all the processed shit that's in that Reese's Pieces, your body doesn't know what to do with that. The
Right.
sugar, when you boil it down to the sugar, that sugar could have, these two things could have the same amount of sugar.
Yeah.
But this has the fiber. This doesn't. This has all this other stuff in it.
Yeah.
So you'll hear people say, well, I'm just going to have this because it's giving me that many grams of sugar in it. But your body's not.
Yeah.
It's not the same.
No.
It's not the same.
It tastes good,
Oh,
but
they're great, especially when they're frozen.
it's the forbidden fruit or whatever, Yeah, I mean, I guess I want to let's bring it a little bit back to the business element of stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, like I said, there is a connection there, and it is important for people to hear too. We talked a little bit about the social media in terms of like, you figuring out what you want to post. Do you have any tips for people who like want to stay active? People who are like, well, it's hard, obviously.
It's super hard.
How do you go about staying active
Just
yourself?
do it. You just stop trying to make that piece that people are you're gonna get 100 likes on. Forget about the likes, forget about the followers, forget about all of that. Make the stuff that you want to make. Like if you think that you stitched together a reel and you like the way it worked in your camera angle or your picture or your little caption, the stuff that you like to do, if you're happy with that, post that.
Yeah.
Don't overthink it. Just do it. Because really, here's what happens.
Yeah. Yeah.
90% of what you just did I can't stand when I hear people say that they worked on something for like 3 days.
Yep.
I stopped tagging everybody. I'm done tagging people. I don't want to do it. I'm not putting hashtags. I'm putting just a quick little caption.
Yeah.
And I'm going to let that carry it. If you like it, you like it. If you're going to follow me, I know that it's going to take a little bit of a dive because their algorithm.
Right.
But at the end of the day, it's going to come back around. Somebody's going to like it. People are going to share it. And if you're starting off small, you might only get 1 or 2 likes or 3 likes.
Yeah.
But you talk to those people and then you go and, you have to follow. Don't be the person who's like, you're different because this is going to be like this is like its own little business, its own thing.
Yeah, well, editing this will take me like 8 hours.
Oh, well, we're talking forever. So
yeah. But no, I do relate to that though, in the sense, and that's something that I need to hear. And even though I hear it, like I still know because I'm very picky about when I'm editing stuff, and I know it doesn't matter because I haven't spent 3 days editing a video, but I have spent like 2-3 hours editing a 30-second reel,
Yeah, don't do
and
it.
then I put that up, and then it's like, oh, 5 likes, cool, that was worth it.
It's the worst.
Yeah,
But yeah, and then you think like you make this real good one, and you're like, damn, this one's gonna hit,
yeah,
and it does
yeah,
nothing. And then you make the stupid one,
yeah.
and it's like, oh, that one got 100 likes.
Everybody
It's
likes
got
it.
5,000 plays. I remember the first time I got a reel to do like it hit like 15K,
Yeah,
and I was like, oh damn! And it took me 20 seconds to make,
yeah,
literally 20 seconds to make, and it was all right before the show, and I just do and sent it, and then like 20 minutes later my boy was like, dude, your reel's doing like crazy, it's like going viral. And I was
yeah,
like, it's not going viral, and it had like in 20 minutes 8K on it, so it was moving, and then it just kind of stopped. But
yeah. But you never know, so you just got to keep putting them out
that's
there,
it.
right?
And
Yeah,
then you start chasing the dragon, you're like, oh, I
yeah,
need that again because it's so cool.
yeah. No, I mean, it's tough too because I've done the same thing. Like, I think you can go on the Trim Merch Instagram and see. Um, I have like that one video. It's like the Trump mug that I made, and that one went, relative. It didn't go viral, but it went, like, for me anyway. It got a ton more likes than what it usually
Right.
does. Well, and then, like, I have this other one. I did a Tumblr for the movie There Will Be Blood,
Yeah.
and I had just watched the movie, and I was like, "Oh, this is awesome!
Isn't that the best?
I'm gonna incorporate the clips from the movie. I'm gonna make it like this cinematic thing where it's transitioning in and out." Like
That's a dope Tumblr,
like
dude.
10 likes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still like the Tumblr. I use it every day. I take that to the gym, but and you know what? Part of it too was just like I was just having fun because I just saw
Right.
the movie, so I don't necessarily consider it all a loss because it was just
Right.
it was kind of for fun too. But it just speaks to that point, I guess,
Right.
where it's like there's no point of going crazy on the editing and like trying to find the perfect angle on things.
I think what
sometimes.
you do is similar to what I do in the sense that you like showing the process of how this is done.
Yeah,
And that you could take a picture of that, and that don't mean anything,
right.
right? Like, oh, that's cool, science wipe. But if I show you that printer
Yep.
printing it, and which I have done, I took video of it printing this morning. People are like, "Whoa, what's he making?" And
Yeah.
I've had people tell me, "Hey, stop just doing the product. Like, you're not showing the end product." Like, oh well, you'll see it in a week.
Yeah.
So if you stay tuned, you'll see that. You know what I mean? But I love how you do, like, when you do the time lapse
Yeah.
version. I know it's a pain in the butt.
Yeah. Like I lose my phone for like 3 hours, and I'm like trying to answer a message or something, and I'm like, "Fuck, it's over there." So, but
I know. I was like, please do a time lapse. No, you come through with it, man.
oh no, over the top. Those are easier. Those are just a couple minutes. But I thought you meant like when I'm doing the ones
When
of me
you're
like
going around?
actually moving
Yeah,
back
yeah,
and forth.
yeah,
Like those ones take up a ton of time.
Yeah,
But
and a space.
yeah. I got a tripod set up over there. It's a mess, but no, it is worth it. And I think too the process to what you're saying is more interesting to people because, like you're saying, a stagnant product is not
Right.
really going to hit the same
Right.
as like actually people like to see other people.
Yeah.
So
Oh, I hated going
Yeah.
in the beginning. I hated coming on, like, and getting in front of the camera because I
Mhm.
was like, it's not about me. It's about my reef tank. It's about my reef tank.
yeah,
But I as soon as I jumped on, and they saw the face,
yeah,
and then I realized with the 3D printing, it was like, because you kind of watch 3D printing pages, and everybody's posting this, and they're pulling off their they're
Yeah.
pulling it off, and I'm like, you're not seeing anybody. You're
Yeah.
seeing their gross hands. That's
Yeah.
what you see,
well, it is about you.
right?
Like
So
your personality is what makes your page different,
right,
like, and what attracts people.
right. So that you see me on my page all the time now.
Yeah, that's how it should be. I think like for a lot of people, especially anybody who is thinking about getting into business, you got to get comfortable with being on camera because that's just what it is these days. Like if you want to do business, and grow yourself online, you have to be willing to get in front of a camera. It can't
It's
just be
you.
like, here's what I'm working on
Yep.
because
It's
everyone's-
you. It's not anything. It's not that piece of plastic.
Right.
It's you.
right.
And if they can connect with you,
Yeah.
that's when your product.
Well, yeah,
excels.
it's about making that connection, and nobody's gonna connect to a shirt
right.
or
No,
whatever,
nope.
But yeah, it's a part of it. I would say that's very true for the social media aspect. Something that I ask most people, or pretty much everybody so far, is like, what was one mistake that you made getting into this business? Like looking back on it, something that you would either advise people against or like something you learned from?
Don't pay attention to anybody. In my business, a lot of people, and I thought I was going to get away with not talking about this, but in my business, there's a lot of people that see what you do and want to do what you do, or see that you made something when you're creative, see that you make something, and they steal the idea. And there is nothing more infuriating than you seeing something that took you months to make or come up with, you know, and you know, I'm a sticks and stones engineer, you know.
Yeah.
I don't have a background in CAD or engineering or any of that. I'm just my idea, and I kind of put a bunch of shapes together and figured out how it would work. And then you see someone take that idea,
Right.
and because you can't patent it, because if they change it 10%, it's not the same thing.
Yeah.
But you see it, and you see them posting it. You see them doing everything that you're doing when you've brought that to the table first, or you might be doing that. You got to just put the blinders on.
Yep.
Because I mean, I literally wanted to go crazy a few times, and I've you know, DM people, and I never got rude or disrespectful, or just I'm gonna call you out on your shit.
Yeah.
Just, you know.
Well, no, I mean, at a certain point too, it's like you said, you've taken the time to go ahead and make that, and somebody's taken a shortcut. So it doesn't seem fair, and it's not fair.
It isn't, but I think what you got to do, that's the one thing, because it happened recently, and after I did it, I was like, man, I shouldn't even give him that shouldn't have even gotten my time.
Right.
I should have just kept it moving. But when you invest so much time, and you invest, you know, money and sacrifice, and it's just someone just looks at what you did, I can duplicate that. And, you know, I can upside down Nike check it.
Right.
And then post it all over Instagram and Facebook. You know, it hurts.
Yeah.
It really does.
Yeah. No, I mean, I agree too, because I've had a similar thing, not with people stealing anything that I do per se, but I've noticed, like, especially entrepreneurs similar to my age, younger entrepreneurs, looking at their stuff on social media, right? And like seeing, oh, they got this many followers, or they're getting this many likes or whatever on a post. And it's the same idea, right? It's like, you can't pay attention to that.
Right.
Because it doesn't matter. Like, their progress is not your progress.
Right.
And also B, because especially on social media, a lot of that stuff is fabricated.
Right.
I know a few of them, like people that I know who are buying followers, you know.
Oh yeah, dude.
And it shows too when you have, you know, like 30,000 followers and you're getting 10 likes on a reel.
It's the worst. It's like the worst.
But it still sucks to see like the profile and you're like, you didn't earn that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you got to go back to what you were saying. Like, you can't focus on that, because you're taking energy away from the time.
Really, and it's negative energy, because
yeah.
it puts a halt on everything that you're doing. Like, you could have been in, like, I remember being in such a good mood. I was like, yep, I'm doing this. And then I get an alert, and it's like, yo, so-and-so stole your idea. And then another alert and another one. And it just, because he had just dropped a video, and he's got like 300 followers. It's nothing.
Yeah.
And you know, he's a small business, and listen, do your thing, man. Make your prints. Do what you got to do, but just don't do it like me. Like, do it different.
How did you go about stealing it? Like, because I know there's like designs. Did he get your file, or did he like order it and then scan it? Or
like
something?
I said, I'm a sticks and stones engineer. All my designs, most of them are pretty simple.
Okay.
If you can operate a 3D printer or even CAD, like, what I do isn't that different. It's just my flair to what I do.
Right.
And for the most part, nobody's doing that. No one's stealing that. And then the guys who really know how to, I was lucky I had Mike show me how CAD worked.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So Mike showed me the ins and outs of it. If you got to go learn it, and I'm light years ahead of the person that's got to go learn it right now.
Right.
So, you know, but the idea of there's like 6 different things that I've made that no one ever did before. And it was just that, to me, it made sense that it would work in an aquarium application. And there's millions of things that people 3D print, and there's communities out there where they share files and stuff like that. So, but what they see is they see me successfully doing this.
Right.
So it's like, oh, I can get
my
market over here. And you know, I pulled up a map the other day on Pirate Ship, because that's who I use to ship everything.
Right.
And it shows you all the states that you've hit, and I've hit almost every single state except for 3.
Okay.
And then worldwide, I've done UK, Ireland, Japan, Australia, and Canada.
Yeah, I saw just yesterday you posted that Japan, that piece that got
yeah,
Japan.
dude, it was
I was like, oh, that's awesome.
cool. It was so cool. And it got there so quick. I couldn't believe it got there that fast.
Yeah.
So like that stuff it's like cool. And I'd be foolish to think that somebody wouldn't buy something that they can mimic over there.
Right.
Or and you got to come to terms with that.
Right.
So am I going to really mass produce a whole bunch of stuff and send it to Japan? No, economically, it's not going to work out. It'd be way too much money for them. It's way too much money for me to ship.
Right. Right.
So if it happens, I don't think that guy's going to do that. I genuinely think he liked the Hannah holders. So, but yeah, that would be the one key is don't take anything personal. Try not to.
Right.
And stay in your lane and keep your mouth shut. If it unless you absolutely have to.
Yeah.
Because it turns into that person's going to defend their position on it and you're going to defend your position on it. And all it is a show for everyone to watch. And you two look like fools.
Right. And honestly, like the people that know, like you were saying, people were messaging you like, hey, this guy stole your idea, right? Those people know.
They know.
Like the people, people know. So,
everybody does.
At the end of the day, like while it still sucks, you can still, I guess, have some solace in knowing that people who actually know your followers, the people who are interested in your business and like supporting you, they're going to know. And that's kind of what matters too at a certain point.
And I had gone on and like blocked a bunch of people. And you know what? I said, nah, I want these motherfuckers to watch me win. Yeah. So I unblocked everybody. Yeah, so go ahead, go after it. You're not going to put this energy, you're not going to put this creativity, you're not going to put this commitment to not only the product but the community. Like I genuinely like talking to these people. Like I don't get DMs and not answer them. Yeah. I answer every fucking DM. I'm talking to everybody. You have to.
Yeah, I feel the same way too in terms of like, especially for me starting this podcast, like I wanted to do it like 2-3 years ago. And I just never did, partially because I didn't have the money for equipment, but also like the real like main driving factor was public perception. You don't want people making fun of you or whatever, and it's like especially now they're like, oh, every guy's got a podcast or whatever, and it's like, yeah, well, I mean that's true, and yes, there's people out there who are talking shit and they probably don't need to record it and just put it on the internet, but at the same time, it's like I have an idea. I want to share stories from small business owners and like actually have a focus to this show besides just the generic, like, I just want a podcast. So
what I didn't know what to expect coming into this.
Yeah.
And there's a bunch of business, like small business podcasts, and a lot of them are telling you they're so-and-so explaining their secret on how they did something and their ROIs and all that technical shit. Right. And it has its place. Yeah. It does. Money's money.
Some of them are good.
Yeah. Some of them are good. But I'm no guru at this. Right. I'm holding on by the seat of my pants, hoping that like I do my taxes right. Right. Which I think I will because I got a good accountant and I just want to put this stuff out so that maybe at some point I can say buy car business. Right.
But that's real though.
That's
like,
real.
This is real. That's why I wanted to start this podcast because you do have those other ones where it's like, let's bring on like Kevin O'Leary. Right. And Kevin O'Leary is going to tell you like, it's simple. You just need to invest in this, this, and this. And if you lose $200,000, you just cut that business off and you go around there. And it's like, that's not real for people. Like these are the stories of people who are, they still have their regular day job, but they're still trying to make this happen. They maybe just transitioned out of it, right? Like the stories that people can actually connect with, because that's the actual stepping stone to starting it versus like,
you got to take that leap of faith.
Yeah. Versus like that person who has $1 million in the bank and they're just like telling you how to move money around.
That entrepreneur that everybody wants to be like, but the real entrepreneur is the ones that are fucking scrounging, trying to figure it out. And not saying that he's not.
No, they have their place. I'm not like degrading them at all. Like they've probably done the work and they've gotten to where they're at, but I think there's also a point where it's like you've reached the top of the mountain and you've also kind of forgot what your first couple of steps were right at the base of it.
That's one of the things why a lot of people in the dealerships, I've never forgot about cleaning cars. I never forgot about going in there, cleaning out that dirty Odyssey with,
Right.
that the kids had French fries and
Yeah.
Cheerios and
Trading.
milk.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I never forgot about that. So up until right now, I'm going to go help the guys move cars on the lot. Just because I'm in an office doesn't mean that I can't help them.
Right.
So like if you forget your place or where you came from, then yeah, you're gonna
It's
you're
not
gonna
as
be
relatable.
detached,
Yeah.
right? Whereas versus we're in the mud,
Yeah.
and most entrepreneurship is gonna be in the mud,
Yeah.
Everybody wants to do the entrepreneur thing, and it's gonna be like, I'm gonna have a yacht or any of that.
Yeah.
No, man, you're not gonna have.
I'm retiring at 30.
You might not.
Yeah.
You might.
Maybe.
You maybe, but you might not.
Probably not.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
if you can get a new car.
Yeah. Yeah. If you can get to a point where you can pay your rent or pay your mortgage on a house or whatever off your business, like that's really where that's
paid a lot of our bills.
That's what it is right there. That's what it's about.
Yep.
It's not about even a yacht.
I had a conversation with my mother-in-law. She's like, well, where do you see this going? And I said, and I love her. I love you. I said, I don't know. I don't know where it's going. 3 to 5 years, if it could be something that I did full time, and I have some really cool plans for the business if I can get it to where I want it to be. But if it was just something that got us through COVID, and the backlash of COVID, and was able to finance things that needed to be financed, then that's what its purpose was.
Right.
And I built a little brand and a little legacy, and maybe one day people were like, remember Rhinos Reef? That was a pretty cool thing.
Yeah.
And maybe it's something, maybe it's not, but right now it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's
about staying present too.
It's a lot of fun.
You kind of read my mind there a little bit, because the last question that I usually ask everybody is like, what is your 10-year vision? And this is under the assumption that there are zero obstacles. Like if you could just put the business wherever you wanted it to be, grow it to whatever scale you wanted to grow it, like what would that look like?
10-year, I would say it's going to be a sizable print farm where it's more than just reef related stuff, also educational. 2024, 25 is, I'm looking into a boutique type thing where, I could take the stuff out of my house, have a sizable place that I can have maybe 30 printers so I can be able to handle orders, but also have kids come in and learn this process from a different aspect than the education system.
Yeah.
Because not saying that it's wrong or it's not good, but this is that you can apply what I know to earning money, whereas they're not doing that. They're just going to teach you how that works, and then that's it. You're going to do more book work than you are hands-on stuff.
Yeah, I remember that. Even the curriculum that they gave us, it was like...
I never opened up a manual on a 3D printer ever.
Yeah.
I never did. I watched a YouTube video.
Yeah.
That's what I did. I watched YouTube videos, and then I played, so I foresee something in the next couple of years being, a little boutique that's opened up at some storefront where I'm able to have a little print farm there, and I can, offer training, or after school programs or something like that. I think that would be a lot of fun.
That's awesome. Yeah. And that's super useful too, because honestly, like 3D printing applications are going crazy now, even outside of just like stuff. Yeah.
They 3D print metal now.
Yeah.
So
I've even seen 3D printing food.
Oh yeah.
3D printing houses.
Yeah. Houses is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Houses are pretty cool.
Yeah. So yeah, there's a ton of upside. I'm super excited to see what you do. Before we go, do you want to just shout out social medias where people can find you?
Yeah. So I'm on all of them. I'm most present on Instagram. I do my best on Facebook. It's a lot keeping up with all the social medias. I should be better on TikTok. I mean, everybody says the secret is TikTok, but I'm really present on Instagram.
Okay.
If you have any ideas of like something that you wanted 3D printed, definitely reach out to me. I love doing custom work. It's a lot of fun. But really, I appreciate you having me come on. Shout out to Tune.
Yep. Joe.
He,
Tuned out.
he hooked us up.
Yep.
2
years ago, I think.
Yeah. And all my t-shirts come from him. I love the quality. I've had tons of people tell me like, oh, I could do it for you. No, you can't do it. You can't do it like merch can. You can't.
Yeah.
So that's it.
Thank you.
And everybody that supported me throughout this whole process and continues to, it means the world to me, because this is just like I said, it was a stupid idea that turned into something that it brings a lot of joy to my life, a lot of stress too, but a lot of joy, like being able to be creative in my own application with, it's more than just the product too, because it's your choice of music, it's your
Mm-hmm.
lifestyle, and you're able to convey that into that social media part, and it's a lot of fun. So I appreciate you having me on, brother.
Yeah, thanks for coming. We're definitely gonna have to do this again because I have more questions. But that'll have to wait for another episode.
Awesome.
Yeah, thanks for coming on.
Thanks, brother.
All right, bye everybody.